Today we're standing in the middle of sugarcane fields, a place most people associate only with sweetness and sugar, but rarely with paper. The clean white sheet you hold every day, used for contracts, lessons, or a simple letter, may have begun as crushed, soaking wet cane that looked completely worthless. Right beside this sugar factory, there are people working quietly, turning what was thrown away into something that carries knowledge, memories, and trust for millions of lives. After the sugar juice is extracted, what remains are piles of bagasse, wet, hot, and heavy with a sharp smell. To many people, this looks like waste, something that needs to be removed as quickly as possible. But to the people working here, bagasse is far from useless. It is a living raw material with its own timing and limits. If it sits too long, the fibers weaken, decay, and lose value, which is why everything here moves fast and with discipline. You can see massive stockpiles of bagasse rising like reserves, while loaders and conveyors run without pause. The workers nearby are not relying only on machines. They rely on experience. By looking at the color of the fibers, by feeling the moisture with their hands, they can tell whether a batch is still good or already past its best moment. This is where you realize that value does not appear by accident. It is created when people choose to look at what was thrown away and give it another chance to become useful again. When the bagasse enters the washing stage, everything becomes far more strict, because this is where industrial discipline truly shows itself. Water flows continuously, carrying away dirt, pith, and small stones that the human eye might miss, but machines will never forgive. Just one piece of contamination slipping through can put the entire downstream system at risk, and in the end, responsibility still belongs to people. You will see workers positioned along the washing line, eyes fixed on the moving material, ears tuned to subtle sounds that only years of experience can recognize. For them, clean is not a feeling, it is a standard. There is no room for carelessness and no second chances. Every properly washed batch of bagasse is a quiet promise that what comes next will be worthy of the time, effort, and trust of those who will use it.
See how the water cascades. We need to maintain this exact pressure.
Understood. I'll adjust the dial if it fluctuates.
bagasse ratio is unstable at 15%.
Adjusting the softwood feed. Ratios are stabilizing now.
At the quality control stage, technicians check fiber cleanliness, bonding strength, and uniformity to ensure the pulp is strong and stable enough for the next stage. Machines provide measurements, but human experience decides whether the fibers are truly ready.
This is the critical moment. The chaotic slurry transforms into a structured web, the birth of a sheet of paper.
As the paper reaches the end of the machine and begins to roll into a jumbo reel, the entire factory seems to hold its breath. This massive roll weighs several tons and never stops turning, not even for a second. When one reel is full, a new empty one must be introduced at the exact moment, the exact speed, the exact rhythm, while the system is still running at full capacity. Here, the machines are powerful, but it is human skill that decides everything. Workers stand close, eyes locked on the smallest movements, hands ready, minds fully focused. There is no rewind button, no second attempt. One missed beat, one wrong angle, and the entire reel can become waste. This moment is not just about technology. It is about trust, experience earned over years, and the quiet pride of people who control a massive system with their hands and their nerve. In the finishing area, the pace of the factory slows down, but the meaning moves closer to everyday life. The massive jumbo reels are cut into smaller rolls or neatly stacked sheets, sized precisely for what customers need. The machines here are extremely accurate, but it is still people who decide what stays and what must be removed.
All right, class.
Workers beside the cutters do not just look at the paper with their eyes. They look with experience, spotting tiny defects most people would never notice. As clean white sheets are stacked and prepared to leave the factory, they are no longer just industrial products. They are about to become books, invoices, letters, and drawings. Quiet parts of daily life that carry human stories forward. When you look back at this entire journey, you realize this factory is not just making paper. It is telling a story that feels very familiar to human life. What was once considered waste, left behind after the sweetness was taken away, now becomes the foundation for knowledge, work, and everyday moments we rarely stop to notice. Value does not appear by accident. It is created when people are patient enough to look deeper, disciplined enough to do each step properly, and respectful enough not to waste what nature has already given. If this story made you pause for a moment, leave a comment telling us where you were watching from and which factory you would like to explore next. Because sometimes the most valuable things begin as what the world chooses to throw away.